This is the new Hyundai Ioniq 6, and it's a little bit like a rock band's difficult second album after the huge hit that was the Ioniq 5. It has pretty much the same mechanicals underneath, but it's a different concept. So will it turn out to be like Nirvana's Nevermind, or more like Guns N' Roses' Lies? To find out, I'm going to talk you around the exterior, check out the inside, see how practical it is, and of course take it for a drive. I'm also going to launch it, see how quick it is from 0 to 60 miles an hour, because I'm Matt Watson and you're watching CarWow. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon. That way you won't miss one of these uploads. Buy, sell, CarWow. Let's start off this video by talking about the design of the Ioniq 6. As you can see, it looks very different to the Ioniq 5. It's got this really sleek, swoopy body, which is designed to reduce drag for maximum efficiency. It's actually based on a concept car that Hyundai did called the Prophecy, which looked super cool. This is very similar, but not quite as cool. You see, the main problem is this dual spoiler design. It looked good on the Prophecy concept, but here it's just a bit awkward. Not sure about it at all. I do like the pixelated design of the lights and the way you have lights in the top part of the spoiler. I mean, they're really cool when you hit the brake lights, really nice. But then there's other bits that I don't like so much, like these vertical slats here in the rear bumper. It's just not quite right. Shame. Got to say though, I much prefer the front of this car. It's really good looking. Not quite as cool once again as a Prophecy, but still, for a production car, I am loving it. Also, Hyundai redesigned the badge slightly. I think it looks a bit cooler than before. And I like the fact that when the car doesn't need the battery or the motor's cooling, these vents stay shut, so it's a real nice smooth design, which also of course reduces drag for maximum efficiency. The idea being that this car is more efficient than the Ioniq 5 because of that swoopy shape, so it can go further on a charge like for like. In terms of pricing, it's very similar to the Ioniq 5, starts at just under £47,000. Now, if you want to see how much money you can save on your next car, click on the pop-out banner up there, or follow the link in the description below to go to CarWow. And you can change your car through CarWow as well. So as well as buying your next car through us, you can sell your current car. You just upload some photos, give a brief description, then our dealers will bid on your car. Just pick the highest offer, and then the dealer will come to your house, take the car away, and then put the money straight into your account. It couldn't be easier. If you want to do that at a later date, just simply Google "Help Me CarWow" and we will help you change your car hassle-free. Here on the inside, the Ioniq 6's interior is quite similar to the Ioniq 5's, unlike the outside of course, but there are some differences. For instance, this part of the dash here with these bits that stick up is different. Now, if you have the digital door mirrors, then you have screens there which show the image that are projecting from the cameras. Now, a bit more on that later on. In terms of the quality, squidgy materials up there, a bit harder down here. That's quite a nice feeling material. This is actually a pre-production car, so the materials on the door top aren't quite finished and they feel a little bit brittle and hard, these particular door tops, for a car that starts from around £47,000, but maybe that'll be better for the production vehicles. This is all very nice. So the design of this, the big full-length door handle, I like it. And unlike the Ioniq 5, where you have this big open space here, they've actually tried to make it feel a bit more sporty by giving you this center column there. Now, within the center column, look, you have some storage there. You've got two USB-C, some more storage there where you can put your key, controls for your windows. And then you've got some cup holders here. So, let me just get the bottle. Look, so smaller bottles are going to rattle around in there, and you can just about fit bigger bottles in there. You've got a USB there, normal USB-A, and a charging pad. Apparently the design of this is going to change because your mobile phone would slide off of there when you're accelerating, so they're making that flush. Moving up here, you have the climate control system and its physical buttons. Well, I say physical, it's separate from the main infotainment screen, but they are touch sensitive, but they're not difficult to use at all. And you have some physical shortcut buttons for the infotainment system itself, and it is a really nice system. Big screen and quite easy to navigate, and the definition is pretty good as well. You get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wireless as standard. Then you've got this big digital driver's display, lots of information on there, nice and clear to use and easy to read. And look, you've got plenty of adjustment in the steering wheel, and there's no Hyundai badge in here. You've just got like these 4 dots because that means Hyundai now. The only thing that I don't really like about the steering column itself is the drive mode selector, which is here, because it's sort of a little bit like one of those little handbag sized sex toys that you can get. But if I press that, it'll buzz. Anyhow, let's continue with practicality. So door bins, they're long, but they're not particularly accommodating for bottles. Look, I can't fit that bottle in there at all. That is annoying. However, I do like this. Instead of a glove box, you have a glove drawer. Look what we have in here though. A banana. If you know, you know. Some people are going to be, oh, he's got a banana in there. But anyway, down here there is some more storage, look. So maybe I can just put that bottle down there, I guess. So I shouldn't probably complain too much about the door bins. But yeah, oh, it's generally pretty nice. One last thing to mention. Huge vanity mirrors. Someone with a big ego will appreciate that. But what's the Ioniq 6 like in the back seats? Well, as you can see, there is loads of knee room. Headroom, because of that sloping roofline, it is a bit tight. I'm okay. I'm average height, 179 centimetres. People over 6 foot though, so over like 182 or 183 centimetres will struggle. Now you have a completely flat floor because it's an electric car, so there's loads of foot space. It's just a shame that you can't actually stretch your feet underneath the chair in front. Another thing I've noticed is that it seems that they've lowered the seat because of that sloping roofline compared to the Ioniq 5. As a result, there's less under thigh support, so ultimately it's not quite as comfy to sit in as that car. Now you've got this flat bench, so you think it's going to be pretty good for carrying 3 in the back at once. But it's not as good as you might imagine because the body seems a little bit on the narrow side. So for 3 adults, it's really a bit of a squeeze. Also, that sloping roofline really does then affect the people on the outer seats because they end up pushing their head up against this part. That's not ideal. Another thing that's not ideal is that while it's really easy to get a baby seat through the big back doors and you've got lots of room back here to manoeuvre it, getting at these Isofix anchor points is a real pain because they're not easy to get to because they're just hidden between the seat. That is a shame. Can't fault this though. 2 USB ports there, a little bit of storage there. Door bins though, once again, like in the front, quite small. You're not going to fit big bottles in there. Then there's this weird storage area here, which I often mistaken for the door handle. That's not right. This is the door handle there. It's much easier to pull. I do like this though. Look, heated rear seats. Will the rear windows go all the way down though? Almost, but you can rest your arm there, no problems. I'll forgive it that. Central armrest, but once again, look, cup holders there, which means you do end up just putting your hand in them. Ideally, they'd pop out from there like they do on some other manufacturers' cars. Really, I think if you're going to be carrying people in the back of your car more regularly, you're better off going with the Ioniq 5. And if you want to see my full in-depth video review of that car, click on the pop-out button up there for the link in the description below. Unlike the Ioniq 5, which is a practical hatchback, this is a less practical saloon, so you have a smaller boot opening. Makes it hard to get things in and out, and obviously a bit of a boot lip as well, so you have to like work through the gap. In terms of the capacity, you've got 400 litres, which is a fairly decent amount. However, it's 15% less than the boot capacity on a BMW i4. And if you want to see my full in-depth video review of that car, click on the pop-out banner up there for the link in the description below. However, there is a little bit more storage on this car that you don't get on the BMW. You see, underneath the bonnet, you have some extra storage. Look. A little front boot, a fruit. Though it's not as big as on the Tesla Model 3. In the Tesla Model 3, I can actually fit in it quite comfortable, but not here. I now think I'm wedged and won't ever be able to get out of it again. And that brings me on to 5 annoying things about the Ioniq 6. If you're an Ioniq 6 buyer who wants to be a real early adopter of car tech, then you might want the digital door mirrors. This car doesn't have them, it has conventional door mirrors. But I've got an Ioniq 5 over there where you can see what they're like, and there's a bit of an issue. Just look at the size of them. They're absolutely massive. It's as big as my hand. It's got a little camera in there. Now on this particular car, the screen that you look at what's displayed on there is like plonked on. It's a bit more integrated in the Ioniq 6, but still. Why would you even bother? It's pretty much the same size. It doesn't look that high tech at all. The design of the speedometer means that depending on where you have the steering wheel, the rim of the steering wheel can block the speed. Look at this. Oh dear. Also, while this car does have many recycled materials within it, and you can get a cloth interior, there's no fully vegan option because the steering wheel is always made out of dead animal skin. As with many saloon cars, you can lower the rear seats to carry longer items. However, the seats themselves aren't spring-loaded, so when you release them, they don't flop down automatically. You have to lean in, and if you can't quite reach, then you're going to have to do a walk around to the back seats to then lower them that way. And that's all a bit of a faff. As with the Ioniq 5, you can get comfort relaxation seats, so if I press a button on my seat, it would automatically put it in a more relaxed position. Oh yeah, I can feel my comfort levels increasing. However, in the Ioniq 5, you have an extra bit that provides support underneath your calves, which you don't have here on the Ioniq 6. It's a bit annoying. What's also annoying is that you get the same problem like you have on the Ioniq 5, whereas you have this special control where people in the back seats can actually move the front passenger seat. It's great there's no one sat here, but it's particularly bad if you've got annoying rear passengers who want to put the front passenger into some kind of stress position. Yeah, the seat should automatically sense that someone sat here, so it doesn't let someone in the back seats do this to them. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I've just broken my back. Unlike with some other manufacturers' cars, the reversing camera doesn't have a wash system, so when it gets covered in road grime, you have to get out of the car and wipe it with your finger so you can see where you're reversing. And that brings us to another annoying thing about the car. If you look there, you can see that the image of the Ioniq 6 is in white, regardless of the colour of the exterior of the car. Now, other manufacturers managed to match the image on their screens of their cars to the actual exterior colour. Why hasn't Hyundai done it? However, that does bring me on to 5 good things about the Ioniq 6. You see, the actual surround view system on this car is very good with high definition, and you can look all the way around the car like that with a little computer image of your very car. Love that a lot. I also like the fact that when you open a door, you don't lose part of the image like you do on some other manufacturer's car. Yes, you do see a wheel and things like that, but it's still better than it blanking out the image. And get this, I love this feature on the Ioniq 6, which you also have on the Ioniq 5. When you indicate, you actually get an image feed from your blind spot. Look at that, it's brilliant. As with the Ioniq 5, you have something called vehicle to load. So you can get energy out of the battery. You just plug in this device, then you attach your electrical appliance. Here I have a video game of Pac-Man, and it'll run them. You can also hook it up to another electric car if it's run out of charge and charge it at 3.6 kilowatts. Oh dear, I've just died, but such a cool feature. The paddles on the steering wheel aren't for shifting gears because obviously there aren't any gears. Instead, they're for controlling the amount of regen braking you get, all the way from off, so the car just coasts, to setting 4, which is maximum, and 1 pedal drive. The door bins are slightly translucent, look, so you can see what's in them. Ooh. Also, you've got 64 different ambient lighting colours, and little lights shine down there into the door bin at night that all reflects that light. It looks very, very cool. Having a stressy day, need to relax. Well, thankfully, the Ioniq 6's infotainment system has something called Sounds of Nature with certain audio recordings to help calm you. Here's a lively forest. How about calm ocean waves? What about a rainy day? Next is open air cafe. How can that be relaxing? But let's have a listen. That's not so relaxing. Warm fireplace though, this should be a winner. Yeah. Last one is a snowy village. What does a snowy village sound like? That sounds more like someone eating a biscuit. Let's have another listen. Yeah, that's sort of creeping me out. Unlike the Ioniq 5, there is only one battery choice available. It's a 77 kilowatt hour battery pack. Now that should give a range of up to 338 miles. However, this battery is 95% full and it's only giving me a predicted range of 214 miles. Could be the way this car was driven before me. Could be because it's winter and it's colder. Could be because this is a pre-production car and they haven't sorted out the software yet for maximum range. We'll find out when I actually range test this car. So make sure you subscribe to this channel because that video will be coming out soon. In terms of the charging, it can charge at up to 350 kilowatts on a DC fast charger, if you can find one. Don't think there's any in the UK. On normal AC charging, it can charge at up to 11 kilowatts, which is okay. You can get 2 motor versions of this car. So there's this rear wheel drive version, which has 228 horsepower, or there is the 4-wheel drive version, which has 325 horsepower. Anyway, let's find out what this car is like to drive, starting off with in town. Now, I've got it on max regen mode so that when I lift off the accelerator, will it come to a complete stop? Yeah, look, it does. That's proper 1-pedal driving. Also, we can check out the suspension over these speed humps. So, deals with them quite well. It doesn't have like the real soft, pillowy feel that you get from the Ioniq 5, but it's not bumpy like some electric cars can be. I'm actually going to reduce my regen. Let's go normal. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to go full coastage. So I'm going down a hill now. My foot is off the accelerator and this thing is just rolling. This will help maximise my range. Though, wait there, I'm now coming too close to the car in front. Yeah, that was the auto brake engaging there. Oh crap. Oh, width restrictor. Going to put up the surround view cameras to help me out. Come on. I hate this. Don't want to curb those 20-inch alloy wheels which come as standard. Ah, f it. I was too busy looking at the bloody camera that I didn't notice the mirror. Good job I didn't have the blooming side mirror cameras, because that would have been very expensive. I think that's my cameraman just running back now to go and get the camera that just got knocked off the car. It's always an adventure filming cars. That's typical. I was busy looking at the screen. I could see my wheels were fine. I didn't look at the blooming... Ah, that's one of the problems where you're relying on screens. There he is, look, he's just fitting the camera back on now. Let's find something out. Lewis, can you check the door mirror and make sure I haven't damaged it?
I think you're all right.
Thank God for that. Sorry, Hyundai. That's so useful as well, the blind spot monitoring. You can see the cameraman in there. That's cameraman Lewis. Say hi to cameraman Lewis and thank you for all your hard work. He's the guy that films me most of the time. Right, let's get going again. I hate width restrictors. I want to start a campaign to just ban them. Do you know what? I'm going to put this car into automatic mode for regen. Come on, how do you do it? Does it? I know, I did it earlier. What's it doing? Come on. There we go, auto. You pull up on this paddle, hold it down, and then it'll go into auto mode, so the car will figure out what is the best thing to do for maximum efficiency, which is really what you want. Right, in terms of visibility, if you're looking out the windows, it's actually pretty good. The dash isn't too high and the nose just drops away because there's no engine underneath it, so it doesn't have to be particularly high. So the view forward's great. The view in the mirrors is good if you're looking at them, but not down at the screen. Then the view at the back's actually okay as well. See, a van is right up my chuff. It is a 20, mate. Don't want to be going much faster than this. Van drivers. You're all hating me now if you're a van driver, aren't you? One thing I've noticed just driving around here slowly is that the steering is really nice and light. Also, when you do need to use the brakes, they're smooth and progressive, not too grabby at all. It's quite a pleasant car to drive around town. Really easy, really relaxing. And look at that, turning circle. I might as well do it again. It's pretty decent. It's 11.8 meters. Oh, I cocked it with that guy. Yeah, look, I'm causing absolute chaos today. There we go. 11.8 meters. That's not quite as good as a Tesla Model 3, but it's better than a BMW i4. So it's pretty much middle of the road. Maybe I should concentrate on driving in the middle of the road rather than messing about. This auto regen is pretty good. It's knowing that I'm going down a hill and now it's applying automatic regen. You can see it increasing the rate there as I'm coming to this roundabout. So good. Now I can pick it up again to cruise across. All of this helping improve the efficiency. Hyundai says the range on the Ioniq 6 is just over 20 miles more than on the equivalent Ioniq 5, all down to its more slippery shape. Now you might be wondering, so far, which I'd rather have between this and the Ioniq 5. Well, do you know what I've done? I've actually configured either my favourite version of the Ioniq 6 or my favourite version of the Ioniq 5 using the carwow configurator. If you want to see which car it is and the spec and whatever savings are available on there through carwow, click on the pop-out banner up there for the link in the description below. Now let's try the car out on faster roads. So I'm on a bit of dual carriageway now. Let's see what it's like overtaking. I'm getting up to speed, so I'm going to try and get up to 70 miles an hour from 40. I'm going to floor it. Bearing in mind this is the lower power version. Whoa, I'll take that. Really good pickup. You don't need more performance really. Does a good job. One thing I'm noticing at high speed, there's hardly any tyre noise. I'm getting a bit of wind noise. I'm not sure where it's coming from exactly. Oh, now we're on this worst surface, I'm starting to notice the tyre noise, but I'll be getting that on the other cars anyway. I think generally as a cruiser this is pretty nice, and the seats are comfy as well. Although this headrest does kind of protrude forward a bit, and I'm not sure that's ideal for my posture. Over the course of this drive, I've managed 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour. So when you multiply that by the battery capacity of 77 kilowatts, that's the maths I can't do in my head. Hey Google, multiply 3.6 by 77.
The answer is 277.2.
So that's what real world range I'm actually achieving from this car, which considering it's winter and cold and they haven't fully sorted the software on this yet, so it'll be improved. The efficiency should be for production cars. That's actually all right. Right, I'm going to knacker the efficiency now because I'm going to launch this car to see how quick it is really from 0 to 60 miles an hour. Got my specialist timing gear up here. It's supposed to do it in 7 seconds, but what's the reality? Here we go, launch time. What do you know? 7.8 seconds exactly. So then, what's my final verdict on the Hyundai Ioniq 6? Should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, I reckon you should shortlist the Ioniq 6. It really is a great electric car. However, for the same money, I'd have the Ioniq 5. It's more practical and more iconic for an Ioniq. Anyway, I hope you'll enjoy the video. If you did, give it a like. Let me know if you agree with my verdict in the comments below. Click on those windows there for some more videos, and on that box there to go to CarWow to change your car the easy way. Thanks for watching.